our bodies function in a state of homeostasis. If you feel healthy and strong and vibrant, you probably have something deep going on that you're not even aware of. But your body has figured out how to live with it, how to incorporate it into the normal life until something happens.
Ryan, a 60-day challenge for people to bring them to the next level. That is what we're talking about today. I'm diving right into it because I'm so excited that you are bringing this to my community and giving them the opportunity to jump in. You know, it's interesting whenever I bring a guest on or whenever I meet someone and I say, oh my gosh, we need to bring this to my audience. I'm always thinking about those people that I work with individually and what do they need to get to that next level? You know, yes, all day long, we can provide beautiful thyroid hormones and sex hormones and get them optimized and balanced and get them sleeping and all the things. But if they're not working deeper, which we're going to talk about today, I'm just kind of dangling the carrot. What does she mean by working deeper? If they're not going deeper in their life and checking the boxes down here that we're going to be talking about, then it's almost like the thyroid treatment, the hormones, everything else they're doing, the clean eating, the getting rid of pesticides, all of that doesn't even impact their body. Or maybe they'll get 10% movement and they'll look at everyone else and go, wait, why aren't I achieving that level of health? Why can't I lose weight like Susie Q? Why can't I feel my best? And they're missing below the surface. They're missing those boxes that need checked to get them to that next level. So that's why I'm so excited to bring you on today to give everyone an opportunity to dive deeper and check those boxes. So welcome to the Thyroid Fixer podcast, Ryan. I'm happy to have you here.
Oh, Dr. Amie, thank you so much for this opportunity. This has been kind of a year and a half quest to put a program together that can really affect people's lives. And honestly, for me, if we can touch one life, if one person can have an outcome from what we put together, in my mind, it's a success because there's nothing greater than the worth of the soul, and that's really what we're focused on.
You are the one person, though, that can say that and truly mean it. And I want the audience to understand because, you know, I'm sure they hear that a lot from practitioners, from podcast hosts, from speakers. We just want to touch one life. But when it comes out of your mouth, and everyone listening, you would just have to know him. So you're going to have to trust me because I do know him. He is truly here to help you. So everything you hear in our discussion today comes from such a deep-hearted place. I've heard Ryan say that his mission in life is to serve, and that's no joke. So when he says, if we can touch one life and change it, he means it. So I just wanted to piggyback on that because I think oftentimes people hear that and they go, oh, yeah, touch one life. But no, for coming out of your mouth, it's actually true.
Yeah, no, it's incredibly important. And it's interesting because so just some background, just so your people know me. I'm not a practitioner. I'm not, in fact, like I'll be freaking as flat out honest as possible. I don't even have a college degree. I was going through college. I was going to be a political science major, which is like, who knows where that would take me. And in the mid 90s, and the internet came out, and I literally fell in love with the internet and technology. And I left school to go work in the Bay Area. And I started my career building systems and building teams and building technology. And the rat race of the .com in that late 90s, early 2000s was crazy. I think I came out of there, you know, I'm only 5'10". I was like 240, drinking all the soda, drinking everything. I like from a health standpoint, it wasn't there for me. And that just carried on over to my kids, my family. I'm a dad. I think, you know, we were at a conference together, and the question that was asked was, what's the greatest one-word compliment you get most often? And for me, it's dad. The fact that my boys still want to hang out and call me dad is one of the most beautiful things I could have, right? And so this whole concept, and I'm letting you guys know, I'm not a practitioner. I'm just a guy who has been exposed to so many things in this space that has I have to make a change, and I made a change. In the last 3 years, I'm at my ideal weight. I'm running half marathons. I'm doing Spartan. I did a trifecta 2 weekends ago with my boys, and I'm in the best place possible. I'm 52 years old. My wife and I are working on 30 years of marriage. And to me, that's what's beautiful. That's life is beautiful. And this is why we started this program. So I'm currently I'm the CEO of a company called StemRegen. And our goal is to help people enhance the natural body's ability to heal. And as we were looking at what StemRegen does from a physical standpoint, I started thinking of all the people that I've met in my life that have a hard time healing. And they have a hard time healing because their soul's not healed. The who they really are isn't shining through. Amie, I truly believe we are spiritual beings having a mortal existence.
I would agree.
There's two parts of us. So when you go into a healing journey, your own personal healing journey, and you're not taking care of your spirit, your soul, the divine, whatever you want to call it, when you're not taking care of that, you're not going, and I've seen it, you're not going to heal the way that you truly, truly want to. And so the program, the 6-day challenge it's open to everybody. It's the opportunity to really go deep and do the work. You said it. It's really go deep and do the work so that you can be able to recenter, refocus your life, rewrite your story, create the relationships that you want, and have it's the 6-day more health, more life, more you challenge. And in the end, the goal is that there's a little bit more of you because we could all use a little more of you.
Well, I'm going through the challenge as well because I think we all need it, whether you are a practitioner, a clinician, a health coach, leading other people into this realm of vitality and optimization, longevity, better health, or you are a CEO of a company running a team, trying to scale, trying to be the best boss, the best employee, the best entrepreneur you possibly can. You still have to work on this. And
Yeah.
without health, and I think we said this off air, but without health, what do you have? I mean, you could have all the money in the world, you could have a successful business, but without health, you have nothing. And there was an interesting slide at that conference we were at that it was a quote by the Dalai Lama, and it said, man, and I'm totally summarizing. I apologize, Dalai Lama, I'm butchering your quote, but basically, man will spend any amount of money to get his health, but without health, he's seeking money when he has his health. Oh, let's get fame, let's get success, let's get more money, and then a health crisis comes, and it's like, I will give everything that I have. I will give all that I built just to have my health back. And I think that rings so true for every single person.
Well, and think about the people that you've seen in clinic. How many times have you seen people come in that really truly they're trying to figure out what's going on with their body, but yet they don't pay attention to their mind and spirit. And I mean, every doctor, every practitioner, because I've talked to a lot of them being in this space, everybody says if they're not willing to do the work to go deep in who they are, they're going to have a harder time healing.
Yeah.
And even to the point where, and it's interesting you brought up, even if you're a CEO, like the vision for this program is everybody should be taking it. If you want to strive a healthy, strong team, everybody in your team should be on it. It's designed for everybody because here's the challenge. Our bodies function in a state of homeostasis. If you feel healthy and strong and vibrant, you probably have something deep going on that you're not even aware of. But your body has figured out how to live with it, how to incorporate it into the normal life. until something happens. And I've talked to so many people that were like, man, I was doing great. And then I got a divorce, or there was a death in the family, or I lost my job. And all of a sudden, my body just shut down because your body knows what's most important. And when you feel like when things are moving forward and you're doing well, but your body's controlling everything that's happening, and then all of a sudden something triggers and there's a health crisis, there's a mental crisis that happens, your body is going to go to that mental crisis first. It's going to give up everything that it's doing to take care of you mentally and spiritually because it knows that like I'll come back to the body when this is taken care of, and sometimes it never is. And our bodies are beautiful organisms that have the ability to heal and really create an environment where we can thrive. But man, if you don't take care of both sides of the coin in your health, you're going to have challenges. You're going to have challenges.
I totally agree. So what was it that I'm really curious as to what was the discussion amongst you and the team at StemRegen, which I know them all. I love them all. I use StemRegen. I've used it pre and post surgery. I've given it to my dad for his ankle. It's an amazing line of products with amazing owners. So what was the conversation behind the scenes to go, you know what, we need to do this for people? Because it's a lot of work to build a 60-day challenge. And you have 3 amazing coaches in there and a ton of content. You're literally holding people's hand through a very, I want to say, kind of intense process, effective, intense process. Yeah. How did this come about?
So, it's actually really, really interesting. I was introduced to Rod Harrstrom, who it runs the Growth U program. So this is on his platform. I was introduced to Rod, and somebody said, you need to do something with Rod. Rod and I started talking, and for some reason it just wasn't fitting there. Like we couldn't figure out where it was. And all of a sudden Rod said, well, I have these challenges. And it was like lightning from the sky. I was like, oh my gosh, this is it. And he's like, well, what do you mean? I was like, I don't know, but let's go deeper here. And even Christian and Stephanie, as I was telling them about, we're going to do a challenge, they didn't even understand what it was. They didn't understand what we were doing. And I tried to keep things, I don't like force. I've always learned in business and life, in everything, if you're trying to force something, there's probably something wrong with it. And so the things that have really come together naturally, organically, and guided have always have staying power. So I honestly, like Christian and Stephanie were like, well, what are we doing? What are we going to do? I was like, you'll know when you know. Almost, have you seen the SNL movie where they did the kind of the retake of that very first episode, and everybody was asking him, well, what's the show about? And he's like, you'll know when you know. He's like, well, what's the show about? And he's like, I have no idea, but you'll know when you know, and we'll know together. And it honestly came out like that. They showed up on day 1 of shooting without an idea, without a clue of what this was going to be. And we just talked them through it. And all of a sudden it started to gel. And Stephanie and Christian and Rod, these were all one take videos. Rod has a little bit of editing in there because he's Rod, and I freaking love the guy. But literally, if you watch Stephanie and Christian, there's not a lot of editing going on. These were one take videos, purely from the heart, guided in a way that we did not even expect. So when you talk about like, what was the conversation? I knew we needed to do something to help people heal in a very deep, profound, spiritual way, so their bodies can have the transformation that we're all trying to help people with. And I don't think there's anything out there like this. I know that there's programs, there's coaching and things like that, but I don't think there's anything out there that goes this deep with it.
No, I would agree. I think a lot of people will run, 7-day challenges or 14-day challenges just to get the ball rolling for people. But you basically said, screw that. That's too short. People need 60 days to really dig in and to make that deep change in themselves where it does reflect in their health, where it does reflect in whether it's aesthetics, health, or internal health, everything is getting better. So that's what I love that you made it in a time frame that is effective. It's not just, a little taste of change. It's true change after 60 days. Now, I know you've had some people go through this already. I want to hear some stories about what those individuals have uncovered and what they've shared with you has changed in their life.
Um, Perfect example is that there's one individual, and I won't name names just because of it is so deep.
Mm-hmm.
And the change that happens is she was an individual that has done some of these challenges before, and she was actually kind of skeptical about another challenge, another thing. As she was going through it, and we do a weekly call. So as part of the challenge, there's a community, there's a circle app, which is a private community that allows you to really kind of interact with people that are on the same journey or at different stages of the journey over this next 6 days. And we do a weekly call. And the weekly call is part of it. We want you to experience success from others as well as your own challenges and have an opportunity, a platform to be able to voice that. She got on and she was blown away about the depth of what this was. And it was actually helping her rethink how she was approaching her relationship with her husband in a very positive way. Right. And it goes a lot to the conversation you just had recently about relationships. And you have to change yourself. You can't change the other person. And she was always in this mindset of, I need to, like, how can I change him? What can I do to affect him? And it wasn't until she really sat down and started asking some of these questions to herself, because the program is set up, you get a 10 to 15 minute video in the morning. Ideally, you can take it throughout the day. And then there are journaling prompts that challenge you to really be honest with yourself. And in those journaling prompts is where you take the information that you've been shared and you really process it to internalize it. And it's that challenge, it's that back and forth with coaching, information, self-reflection, journaling. There's a cycle of that helps allow for this change. And change has to, like you said, change has to come in more than 30 days. Habit is the hardest thing in the world to break. And in everything, it has to be more than 30 days to be able to break habit and have transformational change, which is why we chose 60. Right. But she was she was on one of the calls and she was just breaking down in tears about the impact that this has had on her marriage. Another individual in the program was having a really hard time overcoming some health challenges, and weight was part of that. Mm-hmm. And it wasn't until he started realizing that there were some deep-rooted emotional things that were going on in his life, which was the blocker for him to have the health that he wanted. And in around day 20, day 30, he started making that connection, and almost like a light bulb, things started to progress for him. And so it's that type of experience that we're seeing with people that, one, in small group settings, really make you feel like, okay, we have something, which is why we're ready to go in a larger group setting and say, who's out there? Who needs this? What can we do to help? And what can we do to serve?
And, as you're talking, and I say this on various episodes, sometimes a particular patient will pop into my mind as I'm interviewing someone. And I'm thinking right now, this one particular patient whose labs are perfection. And I'm talking every single marker is within our functional medicine optimal range. There is nothing more medically, hormonally, thyroid wise, detox wise, gut healing, adrenal healing that we can possibly do. So what is it? that is
Yeah.
holding her back? What is keeping her from having abundant energy every day? It's not vitamin B12. It's not vitamin D. It's not magnesium. It's not her thyroid. It's not her hormones. It's not her gut. This is what I'm thinking of. And your last story about the gentleman and his weight and breaking through just made me think of, and it's very rare that we'll have this, but when everything looks perfect on paper and that person is not progressing, it has to go deeper. It has to be something else that is almost embedded in the tissues, like the issues are in the tissues kind of thing. And you really need 60 days to unpack that. That's not just you're not going to unpack it in a talk therapy session. I'm going to tell you that right now. You may or
No.
may not unpack it in a once trip journey, psilocybin journey, right? No, you really do need some deep healing, guided deep healing, and it has to be over the course of time to really get those issues out of the tissues.
And from all the research that, because Rod and I sat down and really went into the research on this, and all the research shows it has to be a daily activity.
Mm-hmm.
Not only does it have to be more than 30 days, 60 days is ideal. It has to be a daily activity because daily activities create habit. And there is the science behind changing habit and there's so many books out there written. It is a daily activity. And so being able to commit, being able to sit down and be prepared to really take 30, 45 minutes to go deep in yourself, which I think everybody should be doing anyways. You need to have a routine of self-reflection so that you can be able to identify, how do you motivate yourself for change? How do you motivate yourself to serve those that you'll meet in the day? And having that morning meditation, that morning structure, this could just be a part of that. It's an opportunity for you to create a habit of establishing your day so that you can be a better person. So many times we wake up and we shower, we change, we get going, we feed the kids, we're off to work, and we forget about ourselves. And doing this in the morning, taking that early morning opportunity to just stop and pause, to hear some really good messages from some amazing people that I know and love and trust, and to take an opportunity to work on yourself spiritually, work on yourself emotionally.
Yeah.
I truly, like I said this, I believe that we're spiritual beings having a mortal experience. I also believe that there is an ether out there where everything is created in that space first. And we have an opportunity to reach into that and grab it and take hold of it. And I'll tell you kind of a funny story, this really quick. I invented Pinterest 2 years before Pinterest launched.
Oh, come
I
on.
have the same, no, I totally did. I even have the paperwork to show it. I woke up at like 1 a.m. and I started coding and I started writing. I had this idea and I even have the code to prove it. But then I got busy and I went on my day. And 2 years later, my wife is like, "Hey, look at this really great site." And it was Pinterest. And I went to my site, I pulled it up. And I showed her, she's like, "Wait, you were doing this and you didn't do it?" Like everybody has an opportunity to reach into that ether and grab those ideas and pull them down.
Yeah.
So why wouldn't we do the same thing with our day? Why wouldn't we start our day in that ether? Why wouldn't we start our day creating it spiritually first?
Yeah.
Making a mental note of the people you're going to know and connect with and the opportunities you're going to have in front of you, and really plan that out so that you can have the best possible day ever. And this is just an opportunity to create that habit of sitting down in the morning, taking time for yourself so that you can be the more you know how to be.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Absolutely. And I also want to clarify, this crosses, I'll say, religions or belief systems.
Oh,
So you
absolutely.
alluded to it earlier. It doesn't matter if you call your higher power source, the universe, God, Jesus, Allah, whatever you believe in, there is a higher power. I don't think that this would not necessarily speak to people that believe that we just like poof became here and there's no higher power. Like, come on, there
But
has
it
to be a
actually
higher
does. It
power.
actually does because it's fully agnostic. Because even those people that say that it started with the Big Bang Theory or something believe in energy.
True. Energy.
Energy
Yep.
is there, and energy is so powerful, regardless of the source.
Yeah.
It's there. And so this is completely agnostic. but what it does is it really focuses in on who you are and how you connect to that energy, higher power, divine source, whatever you want to call it.
Well, that's what I was going to say because it's helped me. I've definitely strayed from my morning devotional, speaking to God. I've strayed from that practice and I need structure. So this challenge has not only let me go deeper into myself, my purpose, my vision, my dreams, my relationships, who I show up as a boss, as a friend, as a wife, but it's also allowed me to take that time to
Yeah.
reconnect to my belief system on a much deeper level. And that's what I love. It's not tailored to one religion, one belief system. Like you said, it's agnostic and it's universal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it only can be. I mean, if we truly want to change the world, we've got to realize that we're all in this world together.
Yeah.
If we truly want to change the world, we have to stop thinking about ourselves and start thinking about others. And the only way you can do that is if you truly know who you are.
Yeah.
And work on yourself to get to that point. I absolutely love the potential in this program.
Mm,
I love it.
I know. I
In
can't wait to
fact,
hear all the stories that come
in
out of it.
fact, we love it so much that literally whatever you spend on the program, because there's a cost, there's a cost to it. And everybody's like, yeah, you want to help, but you're going to charge us. I'm like, hey, it's commerce. We have to pay for the services that we're doing. So there's a cost. We're keeping it as nominal as possible. But for example, a bottle of StemRegen that you've already talked about, StemRegen release is $189. The challenge, we're going out with this challenge at $189. When you complete the challenge, we're going to give you a gift certificate to the store for $189. So, I mean, the challenge will virtually end up free.
Yeah.
If you come in a little later and the price is higher, let's say the price goes to, I don't know, $489. You're going to get $489 back in gift certificates in the store. So whatever you pay, we want you to turn around and invest it back in, not only because you've just gone through the spiritual journey, identifying the more you that you can be. We want you to now invest that into your physical journey and really take an opportunity to support both ends of this.
And just for people for their knowledge, because we're talking about StemRegen, this isn't a sales pitch to have you go out and buy StemRegen, but I do
No,
want people to know what it is because, like I said, I've been using it. There's nothing on the market like it. I use Pet Regen for my dog, but I've been using StemRegen for myself. Like I said, pre and post surgery, ongoing right now. I think I shared with you, Ryan. I forget who I told, who I didn't. It's going to come out on social because I'm sharing my whole journey. But I was recently diagnosed with uterine cancer. So I am looking at a surgery coming up. You bet your ass I have StemRegen on board right now and all the way through surgery so that I can heal to the utmost and then actually kick it up a notch for prevention afterwards because I never want to hear that C word ever again for the rest of my life.
right?
So based on that, piggybacking off that, can you just tell people what StemRegen
Sure.
actually is?
So I got involved with a gentleman named Christian Drapeau. Christian Drapeau has been a stem cell scientist for over 25 years, and he has tried a number of different ventures to be able to bring his formulations to the world. In 2008, 17, 18, he created what he thinks is the final formula of this 25-year journey, which is StemRegen release. I met Christian, and I just felt that he was the guy. I needed to help him. He's such a beautiful man, and if you go through the journey, the challenge, you'll be able to see him,
Yep.
get to know him. You'll meet Stephanie, his wife, who's the heart and soul of not only the challenge but our company. Um, and as I started looking at what Christian was talking about as far as the way his product worked, it literally blew my mind. And instantly I knew 50 people that needed it. So what it does is StemRegen, using natural ingredients, some of the most powerful ones that he's been able to identify, it increases the number of stem cells, your own stem cells, endogenous stem cells in circulation. so that you have with 2 capsules of StemRegen release. It's again, it's not you're not taking stem cells. It's a natural ingredient. With 2 capsules, you can increase up to and beyond 10 million stem cells in circulation in your body. Okay, so that's a big number. Like, what does that really mean? Um, when you're younger, when you're like 19, 20, even up to about 30, you have at most times you have about 20 20 million stem cells in circulation on average, based on research that Christian and others have done. As you age, past age 30, the number of stem cells in circulation start to decrease. By the time you reach 50, you only got about 2 million, 3 million stem cells in circulation, maybe 7 or 5, and then maybe 7 or 10 million. But there is enough research in the literature that talks about anytime you have an age-related disease, that individual has 50% less stem cells in circulation than a healthy individual. So the whole premise of Christian's thinking was if we can increase the number of stem cells in circulation, what will happen? And that's really what he set off to do. And we're proving it over and over and over in research. And I'll just share one story. A really good friend of mine, he was suffering from a traumatic brain injury that he got when he was younger. He had a tree fall on his head type thing. And it was so bad that he couldn't go to watch his kids play basketball in a gym without having earplugs and noise canceling headphones. And he could only be in the gym for about 15 minutes. For 10 years, he was dealing with this. The doctor's like, there's nothing we can do. It's quality of life now. Let's just take care of as much as we can. He was introduced to the product through me and his brother. And 6 weeks in, it was about 6 weeks in, he went to a dinner party and he forgot his earplugs. And he's like, oh, I forgot my earplugs. I don't know what I'm gonna do. And it was like 3 hour, loud, a lot going on type engagement. His wife, after they got in the car, his wife looked at him and says, she's like, how's your head? And he was like, it's totally fine. Wow. Like he went the next weekend, he went to a 7-hour basketball tournament and was in the gym the entire time and watched his son play for the first time in his entire life. And he's like, Ryan, you guys changed my life. And here's the thing, our claim as a company is we can increase the number of stem cells in circulation. That we can substantiate. We have all the research, the science. We've done double-blind placebo tests to be able to prove that. We know that with 2 capsules, you can increase 10 million stem cells in circulation. The question we're asking is what will happen? Our bodies have a beautiful ability to repair. We just need to support it. So that's all we do. And that's what StemRegen is. And we're seeing story after story after story of people that are like overcoming challenges in their health that have never been able to be overcome.
So amazing. I want to also hear the story. And by the way, people, anybody listening to this is not a sponsored episode. I'm bringing Ryan on to talk about the 60-day challenge, and I'm asking about StemRegen because I genuinely love it, and I want you all to know about it. Ryan, tell me the story that you told me before about your friend that needed rotator cuff surgery or did something to his shoulder.
So it was actually my son's mother-in-law. So think about this: older woman, full shoulder replacement, right?
Yeah.
That's disaster. And it's going to take, like, you don't come off of shoulder surgery and bounce back. Yeah. Like you just don't, especially at that age. And so, and Braden, my son, he actually works with us. He runs customer support. He's like, hey dad, can we get her on StemRegen? I'm like, absolutely. Whatever she wants. Her husband works for the 80 County Sheriff's Department here in Idaho. And I was like, not even a charge. We're just like, I just want to see what will happen because it was early on in my experiences. So we put her on the surgery a month before. We put her on the product a month before her surgery. Mm-hmm. The doctor's like, you need to get off of everything. She's like, well, I'm not. I'm going to keep taking this. Right. And she took it through the surgery, which is every doctor's going to say you can't do that, but she did. Um, there was another gentleman that had the same surgery at the same time as her. They were actually in the hospital together. They were kind of lined up, and it's fun to watch this. She was supposed to have like 9 to 12 weeks of physical therapy. She came off physical therapy in 4 weeks. Full movement, full rotation, like all the way up, being able to hold her grandchildren for the first time in her, like, but here's the crazy story, Amie. What I didn't know was she actually had a brain tumor that was affecting her memory. Okay, I didn't know this. This was like, Cassie, my daughter-in-law, started telling me the story, and literally we're in tears in this process. This is something that they've kept very private in their family. The way she remembers is she journals every night. She writes down things. A lot like, what's that, 50 First Dates?
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
Literally that in real life. Not that bad, but so she would big experiences she would write when her grandson was born. She journaled it, and that's how she can remember the experience and go back and revisit it.
Okay.
Well, 6 weeks into being on the product, she started remembering things
Okay.
that she never remembered before.
Wow. Okay.
Her husband came to me, and I'm going to get a little emotional. Her husband came to me and literally said, she is who I married. Like, and that was, we have no idea what was going on. And I'm not saying that this cures everything. My point is, we can increase the number of stem cells in circulation in your body. Stem cells are at the root of your innate ability to repair. Your body repairs by using stem cells. That's what it does. It's naturally designed to do that. Stem cells are the only cell in the body that can become another cell that can become tissue. That's it. That's all they do, is they just mimic everybody else, but they come in such force that they have the ability to repair damaged tissues. All we're saying is, like, what will happen? And there are stories after story. It blew me, like, having those conversations with my daughter-in-law and her dad, and seeing the emotion in their face, that changed everything for me. I keep telling people, I'm like, man, this is bigger than me. This is bigger than this podcast. This is bigger than, like, it's bigger than who we are, and we need to be able to. And so thank you so much for the opportunity to just share, because it's pretty freaking amazing.
No, it's an amazing product. And Christian is just on the forefront. I mean, he's brilliant. He's really on the forefront of massive breakthroughs, because think about the amount of people that are wanting to do a stem cell treatment because they heard that it can help their knee, it can help their ankle, it can help this, that, or the other, their skin, all of it, but it's just not affordable. I mean, these treatments alone can be 10 grand per pop, up to 50. I've heard $100,000 for full body. It's just out of reach for the majority of people. So with him developing, and like you said, after 25 years of even different iterations to make it better, continuously make it better and more effective, it's just so affordable. And that's what I love. I'm circling it back to the 60-day challenge. What I love about it is there's not a requirement to buy StemRegen to enter the 60-day challenge. The bonus is that you do get to try the product. So basically it's kind of a $0 investment, because you get the product on the other end, and who the hell wouldn't want to try it after everything that we just talked about? But I like the fact that you do have people invest, because I think we all know, and we can all be dead honest with ourselves, if we don't have money in the game, some amount, you're not going to take it seriously. You're not going to open that email. You're not going to do today's challenge. You're going to blow it off, and you're going to forget about it.
Yeah. And you have to have skin in the game. You absolutely do. It's an investment that you're making into yourself. Make the investment. And we'll give it back to you 100%.
Right.
This is not about, anything except helping you become more of who you can be. And your family needs more of you. Your coworkers need more of you. The world needs more of you. That's the whole more health, more life, more you. When we laid out that as our message from the company, I was blown away about how, you know, these things come together in such amazing ways that, when we came up with that more life, more health, more you, we knew we were on a mission, but we only had part of it. Like StemRegen and the product was just part of it. There was something else there, and this challenge fills that, because it truly is creating transformational change so that you can be more of who you are.
It is. It really is. It's hard to even as we're talking, it's hard to deliver the exact
It is.
the true impact that it's going to have on people. We can give the surface and this is what it's going to do and it sounds all nice and nice. But until you get in it and experience it, and we were actually talking, we won't mention the woman's name, but we were talking about a mutual friend who is in the health space who
Yeah.
started this challenge, and it was it was too much for her
Yeah.
because it hit a lot deeper than what you think it's going to do. This isn't a fluffy challenge. This is getting to depths. This is getting to the root, and you might get a little bit uncomfortable, but that's where change happens. Is
That's
when you
but
do get
that's
uncomfortable.
But friction is good, man.
Yeah.
Friction creates energy, and being uncomfortable and sitting in that space of who you are and challenging yourself creates friction, which creates energy. Energy, as you apply it in the right direction, creates clarity and harmony. And it's a beautiful transition if you can get there. And I hope that you do. But yeah, she was like, Ryan, I wasn't ready for this. She's like, I got to reset and take a step back because I was not in the mindset. So please tell people, do it, be ready for it. Be ready for the change because it will challenge you.
Well, and I
So
would say who this isn't for are people who like to stay in their sickness. That's where they find their identity is in their sickness, and they truly don't want to get well, so they won't take the next steps to go deeper. If you really do want to up level your entire life and your health and how you feel and your energy and your connections and your relationships, that's who this is for.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And I hope everybody, here's the deal, that everybody, time is one of the greatest healers out there. And there are going to be people that might not be ready for it today. But when you are, come back, because time is infinite, and there's opportunity for change around, like, at any stage of the game. And when you're ready, we're here for you. We'll be there. We'll support you. That's the ultimate goal.
Yeah. Yeah. And you actually do give people, isn't it 90 days to
Yeah.
complete the 60-day challenge? So don't get
Yep.
freaked out if you're going on vacation and you're not going to look at your email every day. You have time to catch up as well.
Yeah. Yeah. So 90 days to do 6 days, and yeah, it's an opportunity to really challenge yourself. I mean, that's why and you're right. I love that. I love what you said. There are challenges out there that really don't challenge you. This one will.
Yeah. Yeah. They're fluffy. Let's just face it. They're fluffy. So, Ryan, can you tell people where they can go to sign up for this? We'll, of course, put it in the show notes, but let people know
Awesome.
where they can go.
So just go to stemregen.co. So that's STEM, STEMREGEN.co, not .com, .co. Stemregen.co. They'll be right on the homepage. You can click right into it, and we're super excited to have you be a part of it.
Amazing. Well, thank you so much for coming on today and just sharing this with my audience. Because like I said, I really believe that this could be that key component that takes them to the next level. So I appreciate your time today, Ryan.
Thank you, Dr. Amie. It was lovely, as always. So thank you so much.